Hey everybody, welcome to today's Autoimmune Table Talk. And today we have a very hot topic and a very special guest. Today, the hot topic is how do you end elimination diet hell? And what the heck is functional nutrition? Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to today's Autoimmune Table Talk Live, and I am Maggie, UMD, functional and holistic medicine physician, and the creator of the Transform Protocol and the program Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, make sure you click the link above or below this video and join our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally, where we go live almost every single week. And we have tons of bonus trainings and interviews that are in the group that you don't want to miss. If you're following us on YouTube right now, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. That'll be awesome. And those of you who are joining us right now, please comment. Tell me that you're watching and tell me where you're watching from and what are some of the health struggles you struggle with. That'd be really great. I'd love to get to know more about you and the audience that we're talking to. That really helps a lot. It also is super helpful if you have any questions or comments to put it in the comments below. If you have a question, we are going to have time. I'm going to make time. Allie and I are going to make time to actually answer some of your hot topic questions. That's been coming in the whole week in the Facebook group. All right. So without further ado, today we are talking about what is functional nutrition. That word is so foreign to so many people, doctors in particular, and their patients that are struggling with a lot of food issues. So I want to shine a light on the solutions that functional nutrition can be. And I also want to really address the topic of how the hell do you end elimination diet hell? If you're an alumni, you've been through our programs and we have ended your elimination diet hell or your food hell, I'd love for you to comment in the comment section and tell me who you are, because I know who you are. Tell me you're watching and just tell our audience what are your outcomes that you've had working with us, Allie, and our functional nutrition in our program. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. All right. And before we do, one more thing, okay? If you would like to work with us, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally, there's a link below to book a chat with our team so we can get to know more about what's going on with you. Now, let's get the show on the road. First thing first. All right, Allie, I'd love for you to introduce you to our functional nutritionist extraordinaire in Transform, Miss Allie Salmon.
Hello. Yes. So my name is Allison. I go by Allie, and just don't call me late for dinner. Call me whatever you want, but just not late for dinner. And I am a functional nutritionist, and I wasn't always. What's so funny is people who knew me long ago might be surprised, or when I first got into this work, I've been doing this work for almost 9 years. They were so surprised because I was not one of those people who was always a foodie or a nutrition person. I was a sick person for about 10 years of my life. I suffered with unexplained pain. And so it's always so shocking when they're like, oh, well, they don't want to eat something in front of me because they're like, oh, Allie's going to see that. And oh, I'm being so bad. I'm like, I was you. I was you. Me too. You too can transform your life. And so the sad thing is that for 10 years I was struggling, going to doctors and specialists, and not one person, not one in 10 years ever asked me about what I was eating. And I had no idea because I thought of myself as a healthy and like a fitness enthusiast. And so I thought, it just never occurred to me that I could possibly be eating something that was wrong, because everything I was eating was low fat. Everything that I was eating was according to what all the magazines were saying. So why would I be having all of these issues? Why would I be having migraines and pain where I couldn't walk and people had to carry me sometimes? Why would I have bloating? Why would I not be pooping? Why would I have hormonal imbalance? Why was I so puffy? And why couldn't I lose this weight? All that for 10 years.
And for me, I was like, why the hell did I have an autoimmune disease?
Yeah, right. You're a
and
doctor.
Why is it getting so much worse?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so when I finally learned about this crazy newfangled concept that maybe you guys have heard of, it's called nutrition. I don't know.
Functional nutrition?
And it just completely changed my life. And the functional part of nutrition, like what differentiates it, is that it's recognizing your own unique capabilities to heal. It's not a one size fits all, which is what I was following, which is what we're kind of trained to follow. Well, if not this, then that. And if not that, well, then you're screwed. It's what it really comes down to. We cannot help you. There is no cure. And so it's taking diet and lifestyle. It's not just about the food, diet and lifestyle modifications to really just cultivate your body's own unique capabilities of healing. And so there's a physiological aspect, there's a psychological aspect. It's really comprehensive, and it just is a game changer.
Well,
for an intro.
I think that's wonderful. And we're going to more dive what the heck that means, because this is a lot of people hearing the first time. A lot of people, this is the 10th time they've heard it, but most people, they've never heard about that. What is functional nutrition and how it represents a holistic, comprehensive solution, right?
Yes.
But I want to dig a little more in. Like, you've got some stellar credentials, lady. So I'd love for you to just highlight a couple of things that you've done before you even joined the Transform team.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Yeah. Well, so I won an Emmy. That was in a completely different industry. Did win an Emmy.
Yes.
But I have been a functional nutritionist for the past 9 years in private practice. I've worked with people with autoimmune conditions. I've worked with people. I've worked with military veterans. I've worked to help people get pregnant, people who are trying to get pregnant. I myself had my first baby naturally conceived, naturally delivered at 42.
Woo!
And I'm only 35. So how did that even happen?
You're not.
So I'm really
49 by that count, then.
That's right. So I'm really, really passionate about helping people, no matter what you've gone through. Because again, I had hormonal imbalance that I didn't know I had for almost like 15 years, at least 15 years. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
And so all of that can actually be reversed. That's the beauty of all of this, is no matter what you're struggling with, when you figure out what your body needs and you give it the right tools, it wants to heal for you. And so that's what I love to do. My work started when I was actually in the entertainment business. I was an assistant director and producer in television and film, and everybody around me was sick, including me. Yeah. And so when I started to heal myself, everybody's going, what's she on? Why? Wow. How does she have so much energy? I didn't drink coffee. Yeah. I didn't drink soda, and I didn't smoke cigarettes. And so they were like, what? You're never going to make it in this business. And why do you have so much energy? And so slowly everybody started coming to me, and I was like, I think I'm supposed to do something else with my career, because I also had a family history. There's tragedy in my family history. So around the same time when I started struggling with chronic pain, my dad died at 50 years old. Yeah. And if I showed you a picture, you would never believe me that this is a man who died of heart disease that we never knew he had, because he looked perfect. And so that's the other thing that I preach all of the time, is it doesn't matter what you look like on the inside. He had a ticking time bomb, and his doctor didn't even investigate further, because he's like, you exercise all the time, you're fine. Yeah. He died on a tennis court, of all places.
Well, and this is very similar to my experience with my own autoimmunity. And then I was diagnosed first in my family, and I had to pretty much diagnose myself, basically. And after I was diagnosed, I had the rest of my family tested, and my mom tested positive for an autoimmune disease. And she said, I feel fine and I look fine. No, thank you. Right? That's tough, because for me, 5 years later, she came down with ALS, Lou Gehrig's, and she died. And we are going to find out later that a lot of these disease states people don't know the cause of Lou Gehrig's and ALS, but research is coming closer to genetics and autoimmunity with it. So to me, that is a preventable death. And it breaks my heart that I wasn't able to convince or influence my mom. But I love the fact that you and I, by our own suffering and by our own results, have been able to show as an example to other people that you absolutely can turn around some very difficult and impossible to deal with solutions. Yeah. And I love the fact that as a functional nutritionist, what you do is so different than what a nutritionist and a dietitian that people typically see. Like my only experience as an MD, I'm going to tell you guys, you know, I've been an MD for 26 years. And I would say the only training I ever had on diet and nutrition in my first 10 years of practice was when I became a diabetic myself during my pregnancy, which we now know it's autoimmune, people. Okay. I had a 30-minute one-time session with a hospital dietitian who told me that it was okay for me to eat toast and chips and stuff as long as the numbers matched up. You know, as long as I was under a certain number of carbs. And my blood sugars were through the roof during my pregnancy. And it was very challenging. It was the beginning of my autoimmune diseases, really. So many solutions, but yet regular doctors have little to no training, 30 minutes because I was a diabetic. And when you look at a hospital dietitian and a nutritionist, none of that is a personalized approach. Literally, here's your sheet on how to follow a diabetic diet. Good luck, 30 minutes and you're out the door.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is the whole kit and caboodle. The holy grail of like, how do you deliver a comprehensive solution for comprehensive problems for very changeable problems that doesn't look like they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most people are. No, you. I was just going to say, it's usually that they get that sheet and it's a whole long list of foods and they're like, now what? What do I do with this? They don't know. And so what we do is figure out how it works for you. Okay. Not following this list, but how does food and your physiology fit? Because you're unique. And also what happens if this list of things doesn't work for you? And that's
which happens most of the time when people get into elimination diets.
Right. That's how we get into this hell. It's like, but this doesn't work and I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And what do we do? And so, it all matters. And that's part of what the functional nutrition approach does, is it's not just about the food. And everybody always wants to know, just tell me what to eat. It's not that simple.
Well, then we're going to do a dive into, we will be doing a dive into, then what is it? How does it work? Okay. Before we do that though, I want to ask you something because you're amazing. I mean, the feedback from, and I love working with you and our clients love working with you and the results you bring are incredible. So you can work anywhere. And so my question for you is, why did you choose to work with Transform? Why are you working with our clients?
What's so awesome about Transform, and this is so I talk about this all the time with the clients, that I like to trick people into eating healthier and not tell them that it's gluten-free or sugar-free or dairy-free. I don't tell them. I let them love it first. And then I'm like, by the way, And so what the Transform program, this is a little bit of a stretch, but that's my analogy, is people come because they are struggling with autoimmune conditions that they have not been able to find relief for their symptoms. They don't realize that baked into the program, the foundation of the program is actually functional nutrition. It's not in the title. You're not leading with that. But it's actually, that's like the secret, And so, it's the little magic trick that you get. You didn't ask for it, but you're going to get it because it's good for you. It's like you hide like with an animal, you hide the medicine in the meat. So here you go. But that's the foundation of everything. And that's the foundation of functional nutrition. It's not about what foods, it's what your body can do with the foods. If you cannot digest food, it doesn't matter how healthy that food is.
Bingo.
It's not going to work for you.
Nobody works on digestion. Nobody.
You do.
I do.
You do the foundation of, you start from the beginning, and that's what we talk about all the time. And that's what you do. That is the start. And so in functional nutrition, we believe that we can work with any body, any condition. I don't do diagnosing. I'm not a doctor, but I don't have the fear of what somebody's going to come to me with all these symptoms, because I know that the principles are all the same. And that's what the Transform program does, is it doesn't matter what your condition is. And so many people are like, I need to find this autoimmune disease specialist. I need this. How many people have you worked with this? It doesn't matter, because your symptoms might be different. It's going to look different in every body, but the principles, the step-by-step, it's the same. These things have to be covered, and you do that. It's so beautiful. And what I love is that we can help so many people together we can, it's just the reach that we can have and affect the change and see those transformations. And it happens fast when you put them both together. It's not just medicine. It fits together, and everything works together. Yeah. So it's awesome. That's why I chose Transform and followed you, and I'm proud to be a part of the program.
Well, the other thing for me is that the amount of medical and scientific knowledge that we incorporate along with functional nutrition and all the holistic solutions and data and testing really requires a functional nutritionist dynamo who get the medical aspects of this. And you guys will be shocked how, I would say, I've interviewed and have worked with many, and people really don't have that background or that level of confidence or that level of, know-how to be able to. No condition scares me or scares you at all. Yeah. In fact, it's like people come in and they think they're a super special zebra, and I'm literally like, oh yeah, we got this. Wake me in the morning. We got this. It's like the 100th time I've seen this week, but people are so isolated, so they don't realize. And they are also not used to working with a dynamo like you who really gets
they're also often told there's nothing we can do. There's no cure.
Bullshit.
And we're not dealing in cures, but we are dealing with your body's capability to heal and to reverse or mitigate your symptoms, so that if you have a flare, if something comes up, you have the tools, you know what to do. That's what we do. And so there's nothing we can do. There's a lot we can do.
There's so much we do. Well, and the people, those of you that are watching right now, if you're like, what are they talking about? What kind of outcomes are they producing? What do you mean they can solve these problems? If you haven't joined our Facebook group, you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please go. We literally have we're at almost like 120 client interviews of every autoimmune disease and every symptom known to man, whether you even don't have a diagnosis, we have solved. So don't take our word for it. Go check out the YouTube channel and the Facebook group. In there, we have hundreds of videos of people with problems worse than yours that we've solved. And if you think you have an unsolvable problem we can't solve, put it in chat. Come at me, bro. All right. Now, all right, let's talk about it. I want to talk about how do we as an online program work with people? Because a lot of people watching like, oh, I like to hire her. Do you live in Ohio, Columbus? No, we don't need to. And thank God we don't. So let's talk about, we're in an online program. Transform Autoimmune is a 2-month online program. You can do it from anywhere in the world that has internet access. It is a program based on your own data. There are educational modules that you do on your own time, and there's active online coaching every single week. And there's also engagement with our community and smaller community meetings with your pod every single week throughout the entire 2-month process. This program really trains you to be the pilot and not the passenger, and everything is done online from anywhere, which is the beauty of this. So I want to have you explain, as a functional nutritionist, or as a nutritionist, most people are like, I'm going to go to the hospital and meet with a nutritionist. I'm going to go to the doctor's office and have my 30-minute interview with the nutritionist. How do people work with you in the Transform program?
Yeah. So that's what's so great is one of the things that I get to do with people is they will submit a 2-day food journal so that I can get more in depth into, well, what are you doing on the day-to-day? What's going on in there? Because
I'm really good. I'm really good.
Well, what's funny is a lot of people, they don't realize that you don't know what you don't know. And you're either used to doing something because it's habit or out of necessity or out of just like, I don't know, I think I'm doing right because I read this online. Dr. Google said to do this, so I'm going to follow that. And then they come and go, I'm having all of these things, these symptoms. How am I doing? And I'm like, well, you tell me, how are you doing? And well, I'm having all of these symptoms. Okay, well, let's take a look at, you're not eating. Why are you going 5 hours not eating?
How often do we see that? People think not eating is a solution.
There's that. And then I've seen also the reverse, where people are like trying so hard to make sure that they balance their blood sugar that they're eating every hour. And I'm like, whoa, you're completely overwhelming your digestive system. There is an art to it. There is a finesse. And I can't tell you an exact thing because it's what your body is telling you. And so that's one of the things I get to do with people is help them tap into their wisdom of their own body. And so I am the guide. And so I help tweak and say, well, maybe we can do this. We can take this out, add this in. Why don't you try this? If you're struggling, if you're going, I don't know what I can have for snack because I don't have time. I can't have this whole long list of things. Well, what can you do? So let's find out what you can do and let's add that in so that this is not a problem for you.
Well, what people don't realize is that during the program, twice a week, there is a 1 hour access mastermind beginning of the week. There's an hour long mastermind at the end of the week with you. So it's just over a period of 2 months, they get over 20 plus hours of time working on an ongoing basis with
and I get
you.
to know, yes, I get to know you. I get to know what's going on with you, what your family is like. And that really helps because you can't
Allie, who the hell gets 20 hours in their entire lifetime even to work with the likes of you on their progress on functional nutrition? Who the hell gets that?
Nobody. No, and I think it's really, really helpful because this is where people get stuck. And food is such a part of our life. Not only do we need it to survive, but it's part of our social activities. It's part of what we do for comfort. We do it with our families. And so to be able to figure out how to make your food work for you so that you feel good and you can enjoy your life is crucial. And so a lot of people are struggling. And so I think that's wonderful that you have this component in the program.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, usually people will just get a list. Here's a bunch of recipes. Here's a bunch of foods. Eat this. Don't eat that. Are you good? And they're like, no.
So let's talk about the next question for me, which is, what are some of the typical problems that we solve? Like, what are some of these typical, you guys think are super special zebra cases that are coming through? I know that a lot of our audience, somebody has already mentioned in comments that they feel like they can't eat anything. So a typical example, we're talking about elimination diet as one of the topics here. How many of you been on the AIP? How many of you have been on the fruitarian, the meatarian? How many of you been on the starvation diet, the seafood diet? You know, every diet on the planet. And what the biggest problem is that some people will have these extreme elimination diet, which is advocated by a lot of people with autoimmune disease and by gurus of autoimmune disease. And they're very restrictive and they're not meant to be long-term, leaving people sick and nutritionally depleted. Yeah. And then when they try to add back foods again, most of the time they get super sick. And so they feel like I can't eat anything. Yeah. So this is one scenario that's really common. People who've eliminated food so much, or they have so many reactions to different foods, they can't reintroduce anything. How would you say that when, we have 2 months to work with them, we have data to actually work with them on? That's the big difference here, everybody. When you're on these elimination diets, there is no data from blood to tell you exactly which foods you should be eliminating. And sometimes you're eliminating some of the best foods for you. And then the other section is that you're not also using data from your body and knowing how to integrate the two to personalize changes and to reintroduce. So when someone comes in like this, long-term elimination diet, how do you approach that?
Yeah, well, so I guess I want to preface that because there are so many diets out there, they all can work, but not for everybody. And some people feel like because they read somewhere that I have to do this because I have this condition, so I have to eat like this. This is what you're supposed to do. And so they stick to it and they hold to it. But the question is, if you're not seeing relief after 6 weeks, 8 weeks,
right,
it's not working for you. And people go on it for years, like you said. And so one of the first things we do is, you have to back it up, first of all, and make sure that you have the gut health piece handled. So if you are so highly reactive that you can't take anything in, we have to soothe, we have to put out the fire that's in your gut that's preventing you from absorbing food because it's designed to eat food, digest it, assimilate the nutrients. That's how you have energy. That's how it works. So you have to be able to eat food. So we start with things that are gentle. First, we have to address the gut health. And then we start with adding things in that are gentle, soothing.
Gut-soothing diet. Yep.
Gut-soothing diet. You have
I
to
call
start
it
there.
the sticky slimies.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they are, but it works. And it works. It soothes here. It soothes your digestive tract. And it soothes it when it comes out the other end.
But it's not part of my elimination diet.
No, it's not, because guess what? The whole point of all of this is to add things back in, to expand.
I know.
Expand your diet,
We
not
tell you
keep
how to do that.
eliminating.
So you first start with
how to do that.
a lot of gut soothing foods. But the second piece,
Soothing.
the second piece you mentioned that I'm going to expand on is digestion, people. You have to understand, people with autoimmunity and a lot of these health symptoms, 100% of you have a digestion problem somewhere along the chain of digestion. And nobody's addressing digestion, which really pisses me off. And they think it's all about, oh, I got to eliminate more food. I'm like, no, you got to address the digestion. Like, you have to understand and you have to be trained on which part of the digestion is broken in you and how do you support it. Like, one of the first things we do in our program is we start people on a digestive enzyme, Digest It, that covers all the different phases of digestion to begin with. And this is usually the first time anybody in the program has heard about digestive enzymes, and especially one developed for autoimmunity where they have a lot of allergies with limited number of ingredients. That's really important. So it's like everybody has to like get started, some training modules around digestion. So it's like a black belt they're earning. And then they have to start with some digestive enzymes to digest these foods that they're currently eating and the gut soothing diet. So digestion is the second part of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is before they even get their data from food mapping.
Right. You have to have the foundation. You know, we kind of break things up into tiers. And the first thing is you have to be able to get the inflammatory foods out, things that are causing the inflammation, and you have to be able to digest. That's the first thing. We're not talking about any testing. I love that you wait for the testing, because that's sort of like the conventional way is, oh, we'll run some tests and we'll see. All right, now take everything out. And you're like, no. We have to address this first.
It's called order matters. Like order matters, Sherlock. And everything in our program is ordered exactly in the way that works. And it's many of this is the opposite of what your naturopath and functional doc is doing, which is why we get the opposite results. They don't.
Right.
Order matters so much, and I'm like sticking to it because it works so well.
Yeah. No, it's so sad when people are on these elimination diets. They're miserable. They're not only have their symptoms not ameliorated, but they can't eat with their family. They can't go out to eat before times when we would go out to eat. They can't enjoy parties and holidays, and like, that's not living. That's not what we want to be doing. And so by not addressing the data and not starting from square one, they're just setting themselves up for just so much misery, and it can go a lot faster. The process of healing can go a lot faster. We see it every day.
Well, how many people, I mean, it's crazy. How many people before they even get the food mapping results, right? We have several weeks of modules and trainings and visits with online visits with you and I in a small group setting, that by the time they even hit the food module and their food results, their symptoms are already gone. And they're like, I never knew I had a digestion issue this entire time. I never knew I had a blood sugar balancing issue. I never knew I had a timing of the food map problem. I never knew I had a hydration problem. So it's like, I love solving the problem before they even get the food data, which a lot of people think is the first thing. And that's all they think food mapping is. And I call bullshit. Food mapping is a process we even build up to. There's a preamble to food mapping data, people. And that order is really crucial.
Learning how to, this is the other beauty about this program, and this is part of what I do and what your program does, you and your program, is teaching, not just telling you what to do, but teaching you how to think into what works for you. It's not what to think, how to think. And so this is how we say it's not one size fits all, but everybody follows the same protocol, so to speak, but it's interpreted to, let me say this better. It is, oh my gosh. I don't know why I've lost the word, but it's tailored to fit your body's needs. And that's why it can look differently for everybody, taking the same steps. Did I completely lose where I was going with that? Or are you following me?
I'm following you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of what this program does is, if you just started with the food mapping, they wouldn't learn anything about themselves they would just be in this mindset of testing, elimination of, okay, calories in, calories out. Is my metabolism working? So I need a medication. Do I need steroids? Like what? They're not learning how to systematically get your body functioning optimally. Then we get the data. Once they get that groundwork done, then they get the data and go, oh, that's why this has been happening. Okay, let me further accelerate my body's healing capability by removing these other things temporarily, knowing that we're just about putting out the fire, and then we're going to, as we continue to heal, then we're going to start adding things back. That's how you get out of hell.
Nobody understands the reintroduction process and how crucial that is actually in all this. What I want to do is, I'm actually the next step. The next question I have, I'm going to save that because we're going to piggyback on this. But I want to address some of these comments that we're having here in the comment section.
Yeah.
And please, guys, post your alumni. Please tell people your experience and your outcomes. This is real. Don't take our word for it. Take our alumni's word for it. But I want to take a look at some of the questions here. Dina H says, "Is osteoarthritis a part of hormonal imbalance?" Yes. Someone else says, elimination diet are the bane, leave you so nutrient deficient that you add another layer of dysfunction. Alumni of 2020. Oh, that's so awesome. Chris H says, so why do doctors not know more about autoimmune disease? Because I have been struggling for years to get answers, and they're so confused when I explain. Doctors are only trained on medication or surgery. So if that's what you want, go see a regular conventional doctor. Trust me, I was one of them for 10 years. Okay. So if you want other solutions to this that actually work, that aren't just medication and surgery, you seek out a functional nutrition program like this that encompasses functional nutrition with a dynamo like her. Yeah. So yeah, you're singing, preaching to the choir. Amanda, who's an alumni, says, when I was pregnant, the dietitian wanted me to eat sugar-free, fat-free yogurt and was upset when my full-fat Greek yogurt with honey. Ha ha. Mm-hmm. Like, don't eat fat. That's the problem. Bullshit. It's the carbs.
Well, I helped my family go fat-free, completely fat-free, and my dad died of heart disease. We didn't know that that's one of the best ways to accelerate heart disease is to remove fat from your diet.
Yeah.
But this was the 90s and everybody was fat-free and I was leading the charge.
Right. I'm seeing all these comments. We have Mindy here who just started the program this week with her 17-year-old, making a comment as well, talking about within 48 hours. Wow. Yeah, that there's been a lot of, they're in the process of reintroducing some foods even within the first week. So I love that. Thank you, Mindy. We have a user that says, Missouri, RA with rheumatoid arthritis and sarcoidosis, typical client we have, on methotrexate, prednisone, and just started Humira. I'm miserable. Typical client we have. Check your message. Anybody that's commented here, check your message requests in about an hour or two, couple hours. Our team will be messaging you and hopefully providing you some resources. We'd love to be able to help because these are easy problems for us to solve. Believe it or not, they are easy for functional medicine program like this and a functional nutritionist to be able to work together as a team with you to solve. I love that. Okay, great. So we got tons of comments. Those of you that are just jumping in, please keep the comments and questions coming in. I'd love to be able to help spend some time to answer them. So the next question that I want to ask is, this isn't just woo-woo, people. I am a scientist. Allie is a scientist, okay? And so this isn't just believe us, which is data is king. I am a medical doctor who's learned a lot of functional medicine, natural medicine to marry the two. Right? And so data is king. How do we use data in our program to personalize these solutions? And I always tell people, I'm going to talk about the food mapping side of this. This is just speaking about food, not even all the other components of our program. In food, yes, we have a blood test that we do to actually really accurately pinpoint what is actually triggering your symptoms. Okay. And that took decades to figure out which tests, because there's tons of shitty tests out there. And honestly, a ton of people who have no clue how these test results are also different for people with autoimmunity, because people with autoimmunity have a hypertriggered or an exhausted immune system, and that can impact on these results. So there's tons of false positives and negatives in this population. This is why going to a doctor, going to a mail order, and just ordering a food test and calling it good is going to fail. because it doesn't work. So for me, the right test really matters. And number two, the right practitioner that has had this experience, who's able to train you how to understand what's a false positive and what's false negative, then you have real actionable data is king. So that's the blood work, and that's the medical side of it, right? But
Yeah.
I want to actually point to, this is where nutrition is really coming in. What's the second set of data points? It's from you. It's from your body. What is your body telling you? This is just as important of a data point that influences how we deal with the hard medical data. So I'd love for you to talk about what are some of the data points that people's bodies are telling them that are people out there aren't being trained to understand.
Well, so we talk about it as the non-negotiable. So I mentioned diet. So removing anything that's causing inflammation. They're the basics: sugar, gluten, dairy, alcohol. These are things that are causing inflammation. Remove them. But then you have to look at, are you pooping? How is your poop? I've never talked about poop and pee so much when I got into this.
Data, though.
Every day. I want to know about your poop.
Poop and pee is giving you data every day.
Every day. The quality, the color, the frequency. How did it feel? Did it come out nicely? Was it clean on the paper? Like, we want to know these things.
Was it glorious?
Yeah. You feel like, okay, that was good. Or, oh, I don't think I was done. It wasn't.
Allie, we had the funniest conversation last night in one of the masterminds where I said the goal for us is, for people in the program, is 1 bowel movement every day. The men are looking at me like, I don't know what she's talking about. And the women are like, because men don't have that problem. Men is like, I go every time I go to the bathroom 4 times
Maggie, 1 to 3. 1 to 3. Not even just once, but you could go 3 times and that would be yay.
And so there's like a big hormonal and sexual differences in bowel movements as well. And there are specific problems men get more and women get more as well. These are data points, right? So I love the fact that not only you get this medical data, but even digestion wise, right? I actually, in our digestion module, go through what are the different stages of digestion and what would be the symptoms and how they would manifest in you. And how after this training, you can already pinpoint what the most likely digestion problem you have and why it matters.
Yeah.
And how many people are in our programs right now, and alumni can even speak to how much digestion has been a game changer for them. And that is data. It's not just everybody with digestion problems. You all have to do this. No, it's like you all have to learn what the steps are and know which one applies to you based on your symptoms, and then how to troubleshoot through that. And which is why one of the things I tell people is, if we do our job right, which we always do, at the end of this, you're going to learn how to think like us so that you don't have to go begging someone for the rest of your life for an answer. You're going to know how to figure out answers no matter what the problem is for the rest of your life. This is an educational program to learn skill sets only a master level practitioner like me or Allie would have.
It's very empowering.
You can think like us. So that even just in digestion, there's a lot of data points your body's giving you, right?
Yes, absolutely. So you're looking at that. You're also looking at your sleep. Are you sleeping?
Right.
Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Are you having trouble falling asleep? Are you falling asleep in the middle of the day? These are all things. Are you dragging when you have to wake up in the morning? These are all things that are giving us data about what's going on in there. Even before we do a test, we can know, okay, there's probably an adrenal issue here going on. There's probably a blood sugar thing going on here.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then we use the data to back up to confirm what we already are hypothesizing based on what we're learning about you, based on what your body is telling you. Your body's always going to tell you. You just have to pay attention. Well, it's not normal to be exhausted all the time, even though everybody is.
Well, here's the other thing. You just mentioned it. When we talk about sleep as a data point, these are where the other components of our program is going to be king, and it comes in. And blood sugar module, what are the data points your body's giving you about the blood sugar status of what's going on? What about your ovarian hormones, men, and your testicular hormones, men and women? How do your data from your hormone profile fix the sleep problem, and what nutritional problem is causing it, right? Adrenals and cortisols. What is your data telling you? What is your sleep pattern telling you? And then how do we fix that? How do we put it together? So we're weaving in with just the symptom of sleep alone, a ton of data that is medical data, but then there's a ton of physical data that's adding to this that we pull in together to form a personalized solution. Booyah. So that is the integration and the use of the data. And I love that. And people think it's just labs. What labs do I need to get? And I'm just like, you're really missing 50% of this whole picture, which is what your body is telling you.
Yeah. Yep.
So one of the things I want to go into is then food trauma. Let's get into food trauma, everybody. How many of you have been traumatized by food? And before, how many of you have been traumatized by food, right? And we already talked about elimination diets that people are going into. However, even if you don't do any elimination diet, how many of you have ulcerative colitis? Crohn's right here. Put it in the comment section. How many of you have IBS? How many of you have chronic constipation? How many of you have soft serve poop all the time that burns, right? This is heartburn, nausea, right? There's a lot of symptoms that people have had, even if they don't do an elimination diet, that prevents them from eating. They're scared. They've been traumatized. If one time you eat broccoli and you have explosive diarrhea afterwards, you may never want to eat broccoli again. And this is for adults. What about your kids, right? So there's so much food trauma, Allie, that I actually wanted to talk through that, elimination diet is the food trauma, right? All of these is food trauma, right?
Yeah.
And then I actually also somebody mentioned on a mastermind call the other day what we call iatrogenic trauma, which is doctor-induced trauma. When you are leaving the hospital and you have ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, and you have a dietitian that says, eat bananas, toast, and Jell-O, and that's your diet, and that's great. And if you can tolerate that, go back and eat dairy, gluten, you're fine. You don't even have any testing, whatever. Just as long, like people then do it, and then they're bleeding to death and back in the hospital again. So there is what we call iatrogenic, doctor-prescribed trauma that causes people to be really super scared of food.
Yeah.
And so to me, one of the things that we really work on is mindset in the program. Just like we've hidden a functional nutrition program in this program, we've also hidden a personal growth and mindset program that really identifies what the traumas, helps you identify what some of the traumas and thought patterns that sucked, and helps retrain your brain to think in a very different way for success. And I called that the winning mindset for success. And I think one of the ways that we do it, we just mentioned, was helping people learn that there is medical data. Number two is the body's giving them physical data as well.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear from you. What are some of your learning that you've done, teaching that you've done to help people turn into a winning mindset for turning around their illness? What is a winning mindset to you?
Well, a winning mindset is understanding what your relationship with food is. So food is there to nourish you. Food isn't something that you have to suffer through. Food isn't something that you just have to force down because you have to go. You want to, there really is a huge mindfulness piece and it's part of the digestive process of the rest and digest. And so to really sit down with your food, chew your food, and think about, where did my food come from? Did I make it? Did I make it with care and love? Did this person make it with care and love for me? I mean, that again, it's like the woo-woo, but really think about the farmers who grew the food, the animals, if you eat animals, the animals who died for your food. Think about it all and bless it, because it's gonna be there to nourish you. If you're eating in a stressful state, or if you're eating fearfully, you're not going to digest very well, even if you are eating a healthy diet. And so it's really trying to make the situation in which you eat, the conditions in which you eat, where you're sitting and relaxed and smiling and enjoying, whether you're with people or by yourself, you can enjoy.
I know.
And that's like really the first step.
But the fundamental of that is you and I are foodies.
Yeah.
We freaking love food. I know you New Jersey wouldn't use the word freaking, but we freaking love food. And it shows. It's like, I have met so many people that are actually practitioners dealing with sick people, and they hate food. They hate food. I've worked with nutritionists and interview nutritionists that hate food and are traumatized by food and haven't dealt with their own trauma. I'm not shitting you. And so for me to actually find the two of us and how much we are both foodies and how much we love food, I think for me it's huge. And I think for me, I think part of our personalities is actually to have a sense of humor and to play with food and to actually change the mindset that food isn't poison, it's actually medicine. You can turn food into medicine with choice and personal power.
Yeah.
And so that transition happens, because I'd love to ask some of the alumni who are watching right now, how many of you came in scared of food, traumatized, and left starting to love food again, loving to cook in the kitchen again, or even being able to stand in your kitchen to cook again. I mean, there's so many alumni out there that can attest to regaining a self-trust and a love of food again, and a recognition that the food is love, and food can be used to heal your body.
Yeah. And also just being open to trying new foods, because picky eater here. Hello. You wouldn't believe how I used to eat and the breadth of what I eat now. But I was a very terrible eater for a long time. It's no wonder that I ended up having chronic pain for 10 years, but nobody ever said that there was anything wrong with that. Because again, if the calories are low and there's no fat, you're good, right? And if you're not fat, you're good. Wrong.
So I have a secret shame here. I'm going to admit my secret shame here. Okay. People look at me, and by the way, we're both in red. How did that happen? Like, somebody asked, well, did we actually plan this? No, we didn't plan this.
No, that's funny.
Secret shame. What is my biggest secret shame as a physician, and now as a functional medicine physician, is how horrible I actually ate and how I believed in all the food lies I was taught. And when I was sharing in a mastermind call just yesterday with people about how, as a physician, when I was a family medicine physician, just not even knowing I was really sick with autoimmunity, but I was really sick already, I had to see 30 patients a day. So you know what? When I woke up, I was nauseated because I had low blood sugar. I decided not to eat, and I decided not to drink. You know why? I didn't want to go pee because I'm seeing 30 patients. I didn't have time. Right. And then by 4 p.m., I'd be starving, and I'd be like, I haven't eaten all day. I would send my medical assistant to go to the Albertsons next door to buy me the 8-piece dark meat special for $4.99, and I would gobble and inhale it in 5 minutes so I can continue to finish seeing my 30 patients. And then I wondered why I was so tired, and then I was in so much pain, and I was so depressed at the end of every day, and yet I had no clue. I had no clue. This is how your doctors are eating, people. And
you know that I actually, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I actually met with a functional a functional medicine doctor to work in her office. And we did like a shadow session. And I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning. We had patient. There was no lunch break. I brought a lunch because I'm a nutritionist. I brought water bottle and a lunch. There was no time. By 2 o'clock, I almost fainted. I'm used to having snacks and drinking. She didn't pee. She didn't eat. And then she had to go because she had rounds at the hospital that she also does time with. Like, that's not going to, our relationship did not work out.
These are the practitioners you guys are seeing right now. Yeah. This is why you're not getting better, because this is how they're living their lives and how they were trained. Because at the end of it, I was like, oh, I only ate 900 calories today.
Yay!
Yay! And here my triglycerides was like 400. Here I was in chronic pain, fibromyalgia, losing my hair, and I was 4 sizes bigger. You know, I only ate 900 calories today. I only ate once. Bullshit, right? So that is my secret shame. And I'm only admitting this so that I can tell you guys that with this kind of education and results, I will never go back to doing that again. And it's really important that, to me, I take it very seriously. I think that the biggest way that we can influence our patients and our children is as an example, as a warning. I was a warning for my patients and to my kids. And now I'm really proud of the fact that I have the opportunity to be an example.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, rather than telling somebody what to do, and that's like how I say I trick people. So with your children, if your children are the patient, or you just want to help your children not go down that path, because here's the thing. So in all autoimmune, there's 3 things that happen. 3 things for autoimmune to occur is there's a genetic predisposition. So you have to be genetically predisposed to this condition. That doesn't mean you automatically will get it. You have to have 2 other things. You have to have inflammation. You have to have some kind of trauma, some kind of event that is going to happen. So it could be childbirth. It could be a physical accident. It could be a death. It could be mental trauma. You combine all of those three things, your gut health, I said inflammation, but I mean in the gut. Those three things, if your gut is compromised, if you have inflammation, you're going to have this. So if you want to set your kids up to not go down that same path, you start now. And you start bringing in the things, you're bringing in the habits, you're bringing in the lifestyle. And I should say it's not just food, because in functional nutrition, we also work on epigenetic mastery. So how does your environment turn on those genes or turn off those genes that are going to cause illness down the road or help you be more resilient? So it really is a full lifestyle, like diet and lifestyle in this program, what we do.
I love it. Allie, we could go on and on. We're almost up to an hour. So we're gonna wrap this up soon. But what I'd love to do is acknowledge some of our alumni who've been so generously sharing their experience and some of the questions still here. I have, this is Jill, and I know because I am an alumni who did the entire program. I felt better in 2 months with this program than I did in 5 years with my primary care provider and rheumatoid arthritis physicians. Hell to the yes, Jill. I miss you. Good to see you here. I love how active our alumni are and how sustainable their results are. We have alumni here that are like 3 years, 4 years out from the program that are commenting here. So it's not a 2 month move, people. This is a life skill. Jessica, let's see. Amy S says, nausea. I wake up every morning with nausea. I know that's a blood sugar problem, girlfriend, and a digestion problem. Jessica says, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Yes, really painful poops. Your program is already making it better. She's only a couple of weeks in, people.
She's a newbie.
Another alumni says, I learned that I was dairy intolerant. What a game changer. And not everyone is. So I love the data made a big difference for her. Margaret Newton says, Crohn's alumni here. And she actually has said, Margaret says, food is medicine. The only medicine I needed to put in my Crohn's in remission. Booyah. And you know what, Miss Margaret, here's the other thing. Margaret is not just changing her Crohn's. She's been an incredible example to her entire freaking family. I have loved seeing the journey with her children as well, who are at much higher risk for autoimmunity, right? But she's not looking at that as boo-hoo, so sad we passed the gene. She's looking at that, what an incredible opportunity and gift. I just gave my children a foresight and my example. I love Margaret's mindset. That woman has a winning mindset. Bing, 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 bing. Margaret, love you and loved working with you so much. Diane Betker says, alumni here. I hated food because I didn't know which was causing my pain. Hell to the yes, I understand, right? I love prepping my food now. That is falling back in love with food. Perfect example, right? Now that I have the data, no more pain from food. I mean, and if you guys haven't watched Diane's testimonial or Margaret's interview, type in chat if you want to see Diane's. Diane has RA, Margaret has Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's. If you want to see their video, type into the resources into the comment that you would love to see their video, and our team will message you with some resources to see their interview. But Diane had rheumatoid arthritis, pain 10 out of 10, and nodules like crazy. And there are actually pictures in the Facebook group of her hand before and after where she's wearing a ring. And there's a picture of her doing a cartwheel just at the end of the 2 months of the program on the beach. So Diane, I mean, booyah, hail to the yes. These are the results that we're talking about. And we got Dell here who says, living in Mississippi and Louisiana most of my life, we love food. We love food all over the world, Dell. And it is, and when you live in the South, the kind of food that's there, right? There are going to be a lot of challenges there, right, Dell? But we have tons of clients from the South who's able to make a wonderful food as medicine lifestyle work, even in the South and even eating out, I promise you. I love that.
Yeah,
and then
one of the things that I like to say to people is, because you might eat differently than you're used to, and there might be things that you take out. And then you get to look at what you get to eat. Not I can't have this and I can't have that. I can't. Look at all you get to eat and new ways of eating it and preparing food and new recipes. Your world actually opens up. You might think initially, oh, all these things are gone. Your world opens up in such a beautiful way, you won't even believe it.
I love that. No, I think that's wonderful. And so Thank you to all of you who are joining us today. If you would like to work with us, go ahead and click the link below, above or below this video. You can book a chat with our team so we can learn more about you, because we need to know some details about you and see if and how we can help. And all of you that have commented in the comment section, check your message requests in a couple hours on Facebook Messenger. We would love to get to know more about you and give you some resources. I'd love to show you guys Diane's video interview, as well as Margaret's. I mean, these are incredible journeys of success that are typical in our program. So thank you so much, everybody. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, make sure you join our Facebook group, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. And if you're watching from Instagram, make sure you give us a follow. This has been a joy, and I just love how active our alumni. Thank you for joining us and being so generous with sharing your experience. Allie, any closing words from you?
If you are looking to transform, if you are sick and tired of feeling sick and tired,
we hear that all the time.
Yeah.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired,
yes, you want transformation, and this is the way to do it systematically, step by step. Everything you do matters. It's all connected, and you are unique. And so you will not be in a cookie cutter, one size fits all. We're going to work with how your body works. And that's the beauty of this program. So I'm honored to be a part of it, and keep doing the do.
I love it. You guys, you don't know what a privilege it is. I feel a privilege to be able to have had this hour to talk to you and just to really share your expertise in a very difficult to navigate area for the rest of the world. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.